Well, the Grand Utopias are at the very top end of the speakers I've ever been able to use in my career in any of the mastering studios or recording studios I've worked in. And when you get into the sweet spot and you sit here and you just want to get into the music, you really want all the technology to disappear, these speakers are able to create a sonic image that's, wide, tall, deep, and seamless. You never feel like you're working around a shortcoming of the speaker. They just create a sonic image. You don't even think it's coming from the speakers. It's just there. That's a rare trait. That's a very rare trait, and they do a great job of it.
As soon as I heard these speakers, I knew that this was something that could be used in a mastering studio.
So I've been working with Bob Hodes for many years, and Bob had turned me on to the Solo 6s, and he had helped me, he shot my mix room, and we had designed it around the Solo 6s and the subwoofer. When the Grand Utopias came out, Bob suggested that we give them a listen and try and see how well they would work in the mastering room. When Paul Stubblebine and I built this room, Bob Hodes helped us with the acoustic treatment from the outset as we were building the walls and building the room. Having Bob help us place these speakers and get the Grand Utopias in their correct position and really dial them in really does help me with the translatability. Again, people really their material has to be able to be heard. These days, people listen on headphones, they listen in cars, they listen on earbuds, laptop speakers. The best translatability that we can get out of this is that it's as even and as smooth and as representative as possible in this room.
I have been working in music recording for quite a long time, 40 years now, and mastering for most of that time, 36 years. I look back at some of the equipment we used, the monitor speakers and so forth, in the early days, and I wonder how we were really even able to function.
These guys approached me, Focal approached me, and they said, hey, we're thinking about introducing these speakers in the pro market in the United States. What do you think? And I sat down and listened to several of the speakers, and it was quite impressive. The Grand Utopia has phase alignment, adjustability. For instance, on the back, there's a crank, and the speaker is built with a spine. And so you can change the curvature of the vertical array so that you can get the mid-range drivers to focus in and be time aligned with the other drivers and focus right in on the listening position. This means that you're not fixed into one listening position like you might be with some other array of speakers.
The most important aspect of mastering has been the development over time of an internal sense of what a recording can sound like. That came from experience, listening carefully to a lot of recordings, mostly not recordings I made. The flip side of that, the other side of the coin, is having a room where you can hear and trust your judgment about when you've hit that sweet spot. And that involves the room itself, the equipment you've got in there, and most especially the speakers, more than anything else.
I've put the Grand Utopias into a couple of different rooms now. In one room, which was a residence for an audiophile, he had another pair of very high-end audiophile speakers. And those speakers had some real bass issues in this particular room. When I put the Grand Utopias into that room, the issues that the other speaker had basically disappeared. And I have to say that I was pretty much astounded.
My experience with these speakers have been just extraordinary. I think that they're, again, they've risen to the level of the requirements of a mastering room. And what I found about the Grand Utopias is that they really tell me what's happening. They allow me to make decisions based on my perception. And I feel that those decisions I make are very accurate. Every time I turn them on or every time I put audio through them, they sound the same. They're predictable. I know exactly what the presentation is going to be. I know that when I sit down to work on some music and I start making decisions based on what I'm hearing, I feel confident in the decisions that I'm making on a daily basis.
This stage, mastering, is the last court of appeal. It's the last time we're going to have a chance to adjust anything sonically. I don't want anything to slip by. So it has to be very full range. It has to be able to go down to the subsonics and all the way up to the top. The Grand Utopia certainly is a very full range system. I have no problem on that scale.
With today's HD audio performance requirements, you want a tweeter that's going to match the sampling rate and the conversion that you're trying to reproduce. You know, if you've got a pair of speakers that goes up to 16 or 18 or 20 kilohertz, and you've got a 24-192 rate system, you're missing some of the information. You're going to want to hear that. And Focal is looking into the future. They've seen the future of HD audio, and they want to provide all the audio that's there.
The Grand Utopia is really, they've done a fabulous job, the design engineers, of putting together a complex system that creates a very unified sound. We never have to worry whether an effect that we're hearing is an artifact of the speaker or is the nature of the recording. So we can just concentrate on our job and trust in what we're hearing. But over time, I decided for myself, the way I like to work, I want a speaker that really gives me the entire picture all at once.